let's move along here to our next caller, who is going to be James. And James, who is not only a CLP subscriber, he also submitted this hand via Fast Roll. So he's got like everything. He's a CLP sub. He submitted via Fast Roll. What's up, James? How you doing?
I am doing well, and I will say that this was the first weekend I used Fast Roll, and I will say the learning curve was very quick, and I'm very happy with the app.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a learning curve. So I take a lot of notes at the table when I play. Take a lot of notes because I need to create content for podcasts, and I don't use it all the time, but if I was playing a lot, I would. For me, max efficiency, I've had people send me apps that are specifically for like trying to kind of build a database of live hands, like live hand notes. And the problem, like if you remember ever like Share My Pair, like way back, most of these things are so friggin' clunky that you're like, this is taking too long. You know what I mean? It's just taking too long to input. But these guys did a pretty good job with making it easy, and they're in the CLP community. All right, James. So where are you playing out of?
This was out of Philly Live.
Out of Philly Live. Did we see you at the meetup a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
I'm friends with Mike G. I play at Parks as well, and
Super.
I met you this last time and the time before as well.
Awesome. Philly Live.
I actually got to play with you while you're at Parks before the dinner.
Oh, what seat were you in?
I would have been seat 4. Would have been like 2 to your right.
But were you the guy? You're not the guy from Staten Island, though, right?
No, I'm from Scranton, PA.
Okay. When we were playing, when Mike G and I were playing at 2-5 at Parks, I think that the whole table got CLP'd up. There were a lot of CLP subs. Yeah. Well, that's kind of why we don't really do like meetup games. I mean, I did a meetup game like back in New Hampshire years ago, and I was just like, oh, this is kind of stupid. I did walk into Philly Live though too to check it out. Mike took me to Philly Live, and somebody explained to me that they have their 2-2 is a $5 bring in for PLO with a 1K cap, and the one at Parks is actually a 2-2 not $5 bring in with a 700 cap, which is actually a nice entry level into playing PLO. But Mike told me, I don't know if you play PLO, James, that PLO is taken off at Parks. There used to only be like 1 or 2 games, and then when we were there were like 8. And it's kind of relatively new to be so widespread, but you just have to understand that PLO plays. I mean, a 2-2 $5 break-in game, it plays bigger than my 5-10 game at Encore. So it's, it's deceptively large. That's why I've been promoting Club WPT Gold as practice to play on there because they've got micro stakes. So it's a good little thing. All right, so you're at Philly Live, and what are you playing here? What's the size of the game?
This is 2-5,
Yep.
8-handed. We are $1,100 effective.
1,100 effective. 11. Do you ever play any PLO?
I do. I enjoy PLO, but PLO doesn't always love me.
Yeah, it's definitely high variance. That's for sure. We're gonna actually play a PLO free roll tournament on Club WPT Gold. I think in a few weeks, like a 7,500 or something like that. But if you've never signed up for that site, you can use the code Bart and get in that free roll. And we're gonna play a PLO tournament. So 1,100 effective, 2-5 8-handed. Okay.
I am in the low jack, and I have Ace of Hearts, Queen of Hearts.
Ace of Hearts, Queen of Hearts. Okay.
It folds to me, and I raise to 15.
So here it makes it 15. Is that about the standard open there?
Yeah, the table is kind of going through a dynamics change. It was a little tight before, but we have some new players coming in who are opening up the action a bit. So I had been opening to 15 just because it wasn't getting a lot of calls at that sizing.
Okay.
The cutoff, who is one of the newer players who I don't have any history with, is actually the first time I've ever seen him. 3 bets me to 50.
So the cutoff, 3 bets to 50. Okay.
And he came from a must-move game, and he has about 1,700 in his stack.
Okay. So cutoff 3 bets to 50. Okay.
And I make the call. Nobody else is involved at all.
And we're about, I'm laughing here, James, because again, I talk about this, how, the way that I do the way that I pick the hand for this show, I'll always read the subscriber hand. So you're a subscriber, so I read yours anyways. Mike passes along the best non-sub calls to me. And then I kind of it's just a technique. I mean, I look at a hand, I decide whether if it's going to be good or not, and then I put it on the show, and I kind of put it out of my mind. So a lot of times, even though I've seen it, I don't really remember. I do remember your hand here, James, because it was pretty off the wall. All right, so we know that going in. All right, so the pot's $100. Yeah.
Flop comes out 10 of hearts, 9 of diamonds, 6 of clubs.
All right, so 10 of hearts, 9 of diamonds, 6 of clubs. Hero with ace, queen of hearts. Sometimes with ace, queen, and ace, king off to a lesser extent, it can get kind of close, like where the cutoff is in terms of like, what boards are you going to defend where you don't flop a pair? For the most part in a 3-bet pot, if you have ace, king, or ace, queen, and the board comes out low and paired, you have to continue. And then on other boards, like this one's kind of close, you sort of have to look for your kind of like backdoors. You have I assume you're going to check and the guy's going to see bet. I'm kind of going ahead here, but this one's probably pretty close, right? Because you got 2 overcards and you've got a backdoor heart draw and then a little bit of like backdoor straightening, things going on here. Like I would rather have ace jack here than ace queen. If you had like ace king offsuit, no backdoor at all, and somebody bet this board in a 3-bet pot, it's probably very, very close to just folding out. So that's what I'm saying. Like there are certain boards that are become very close where it's like, am I supposed to continue? Is going to be a function of sizing. This one here, it's 10 of hearts, 9 of diamonds, 6 of clubs. I assume that you checked?
I did check.
Okay.
I saw this villain in other hands with other opponents 3-bet as wide as like 10-9 suited. So I didn't feel like he had to be super nutted. But when he c-bet for 55, it kind of leaned me more towards pocket pairs.
How much did you see bet for?
55.
So cutoff bet's 55. So that's kind of an in-betweenish type of sizing.
Yeah. It was either he has ace king that he's just c-betting 100% of the time, or hard to describe, but it just felt like he was more weighted towards something like jacks through 10s in my mind.
Well, of course, 10s would be a set.
Sorry, jacks through kings is what I meant.
Right. I would call. I think you have to call here to half pot.
At least. I did because of the backdoor that we talked about, the backdoor flush, backdoor straightening.
There are calls. By the way, too, like you don't, kind of similar to the last call in the live stream. Sometimes there's value. Well, there's always value in calling, but like you're not going to necessarily get bet at when you check on turn, even if the guy hasn't you beaten on boards like this. Like last hand, we had a 3-bet pot on 10-9-8, and I was explaining, even if like a deuce comes on the turn and the guy, the hero checks and the guy checks behind, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's missed. He could just be pot controlling. Here, that's actually good for us because sometimes we actually call and see 2 cards. Like if a guy gets like a little bit antsy here with like jacks and he gets scared, like say he 3-bet you with jacks, right? And he c-bets the flop and you call and the turn's like a little brick and he doesn't want to put any more money in. Now all of a sudden, like you've seen 2 cards for half a pot size bet, right? And you're getting, when he bets half this pot on the flop, you're getting 3-1. What does that equate to in equity? 3-1, James. I'm going to put you on the spot.
25%.
25%, right? Ace queen with a backdoor, if you're going to see 2 cards, very well might have 25% against Jack. It's probably pretty close. Or like Jack 10 or something like that. So you don't always get bet. You don't always face a bet on the turn, I guess is my point, which is another reason why I think this is you try to find your calls. So 55 in a call. Pot now is 210, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Turn is the 8 of hearts.
8 of hearts. Turn is the 8 of hearts. So now you pick up the nut flush draw.
Nut flush draw and a gutter.
Yep. Nut flush draw here. And a gut shot to a jack. Yep. A little hidden gut shot to a jack. But it's a 1-liner to a 7 though too, obviously. Right?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So I checked and he bet 115.
So hero checks and cutoff bets 115. Did you think about leading here? So you're 1100 effective, right? This is a classic lead spot in a single race pot coming out of the big blind. And I know we're not in that type of situation. Let's say, for example, it doesn't matter what you have. Let's say it's a single race pot, a guy raised, you defend it in the big blind. You check call 10-9-6. Now the turn is the 8 of hearts. It's such, you're leading turn here a lot, I think. Single race pot from the big blind. Now here, it's a 3-bet pot. And I think I would have some leads here. I gotta be perfectly honest with you. This might be one of them too, because it's a little bit hidden, because I might lead a 7 so it doesn't get checked through. You can have queen jack here too, right? You can have queen jack here. You're always calling with like 7-7. So if you bet turn everything that's not a pair is definitely going to fold out. Now, the only thing you're losing to that's not a pair is like ace king, but it's really hard. I feel like if you just go bet across a lot of, turn and rivers for this guy to call down. Plus, you've got a mountain of equity. I don't know. Did you consider leading?
I was going to take one of two lines. I was either going to check and take the free card if he checked back, or the minute that he bet, I was putting in the check raise.
Well, let me ask you this question, though, because I do find this bet a little bit peculiar from him. What is this bet? Like, what do you think he has here?
Like I said on the flop, I felt like this line was jack through kings.
Yeah, but would he continue to bet? I mean, is he that bad where he has no understanding of what the 8 has done here with the board on 10, 9, 6, 8?
I can tell you afterwards with the conversation that he felt like the 8 was a good card for him.
Well.
And he didn't realize how much better the card was for me.
I mean, we have cards that are good and bad for different people and people who don't understand theory, right? Like there's good cards and bad cards. I want to boil this one down to as easy as it can possibly mean. Like, did he miss the fact that a 7's a straight here? That there's one liner out there to a straight?
I think he didn't understand that the 8 would hit me a lot harder than him, where I would have more queen jack, where I would have the 7 and all that, as opposed to him.
I mean that is saying in an advanced way. I'm just saying that, like, if a guy's got aces or kings and then you get somewhat of a low board and then all of a sudden there's a 4 straight out there on the turn, I mean, you got to be pretty clueless to not see that my hand isn't really going to be all that good. I mean, the reason why I say that is because this is why I like the donk lead, by the way, on the turn, so it doesn't necessarily get checked through. A lot of times when a guy bets here, he is almost even polarized. Like, maybe it's not the case in this specific spot because this guy doesn't have really an understanding of what's going on. But if a guy is a decent player and he bets this turn in a 3-bet pot, it's not going to be aces, kings, or queens, right? And the fact that you have the nut flush draw with ace, queen of hearts, like, gets me to kind of be like, this guy might have a real hand. Like, he's the one that's got queen jack, or he's got a 7. And I was fully expecting this to go check, check on the turn. And now that he's bet, I don't know if I'm going to raise here. Because if I'm up against a good player, like, what is he betting the turn with? You see what I'm saying?
I hear you. But from what I saw from his play, from the limited time that I saw him there, I thought he would take the more aggressive line with more marginal holdings.
I mean, the other thing too, and I see it in the chat here too, is like, does someone continue to bet here with jack, jack that can easily call across? Listen, I mean, we all make deviations. If the only issue here, James, that I have is that if you're playing against a guy that doesn't realize that there's a one-liner to a straight out there, is check raising as a semi-bluff, if that's what you're considering, the best thing to do? Because is that type of player even going to fold out an overpair if he's that bad? You see what I'm saying? Like, if you can fold out an overpair, sure, on a board like this, great. But an overpair should be betting here, I guess, is the case that I'm making. So it would be peculiar to me here. He bets 115. What did you do?
I raised to 365.
So here raises to 365. Do you follow what I'm saying here?
No, I do. And I do wonder about that logic, that if he does have an overpair here, and my plan was to bluff all in on the river with a low brick if it came.
So I was going to say, like, this hand is shaping up, and especially with the way that you've sized it here, it's tricky. You got to definitely watch your stack sizing. Like, I would be absolutely shocked if you ever get a fold here right now. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that the raise isn't bad if you can get the fold at the end on a brick, but I can't imagine the way that this hand is going to go down when it goes 150 to 365 that he's going to fold out anything here. Unless you already had the best hand and he was just like bluffing with total error. You know what I mean?
I wasn't fully expecting him to fold an overpair here on the turn, but I figured an overpair would not enjoy facing an all-in barrel on a river with no improvement.
I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. But I just think that you're going to get called here a lot. And then also, too, Jack's going to call here, too, right? If he did bet that. Yeah.
Absolutely. I especially expect Jack, probably Queen, to call. king might have a harder time.
So this is going to be a situation where you have to be very, very cognizant of the stack sizes and do the math out ahead. Like if you go to 365 and he calls, right, you guys are putting in 730. So the pot's going to be what, 940?
940, and I'd have about 630-ish left.
Yeah, so you can't really check raise much more than you did, right? Because if you start going to like 400, 450, you don't want to leave less than a half pot size bet at the end, right? So, if you guys had started with 2,000, now you can put in like a larger raise and then follow up with a larger all in at the end, but it gets a little bit tricky off of the stack size. So hero race this 365. I'm going to assume the guy called, right? So cut off calls. And now we are at 930. By the way, again, I'm going to put you on this 940. By the way, I'm going to put you on the spot here, and I don't know the answer because I'm going to have to think about it for a second. If he were to jam back all in over the top, so what would it be, like 1600, about like what, 650 for you to call, something like that?
That's funny because I was going to ask you that same question.
Oh, really? Well, I was just looking, I'm like, because, you get into these weird spots where like, if you have a big draw, one of the shittiest things that can happen is when you make a play at it and then you don't size it correctly or something like that where you get priced in. In this spot, you'd be getting about what, like about 2.5 to 1, 15 to 16, about 600 to 650 to call. And you'd have what? 9 flush outs and then just a gut shot. You can't imagine any of your like one pair outs are going to be good. So it'd be like, you'd have about 12 outs, and then you might not have all the outs because of the fact that he could have some Jack X here, I suppose, that he was just going with. So, and then if he's got a set maybe, and then he just goes with it. I don't know if you'd ever get shoved back, but I don't think you can count on all your outs being good.
I roughly guessed I had about 33% equity, and
how would you have 33% with one card to come?
Yeah, because I was guessing that my ace would be good a lot of the time.
Oh, see, I'm not doing the type of range that you're doing. Okay. I'm not giving him over pairs, because remember, this would be a you check raise and he jammed. I was just thinking to myself, like, he's not going to do that with like kings. If he, on a one liner it was 7, if he did, it would be different, right? But I'm just doing this out, like, if you believe my range analysis, I think you're actually just priced out if you were to jam, because I don't think you're up against like kings and stuff like that,
Yeah, but even when I did it, the kings through jacks range, I think I did it and I had like 33% against that type of range. And I think I needed to hit closer to like 40% equity to break even.
Yeah. All right. So $940 here. And this is one where obviously, a heart is pure for you unless maybe the board pairs. And then you can catch a jack, which should be also good for you, which is going to put a one-liner out there. But maybe a good card is a low brick if you think that the guy's going to fold. One quick question is, if a jack were to come, would you not go all in, by the way?
Yeah, my plan was a jack was going to be an all-in, a low brick that didn't pair the board was going to be an all-in.
Wait a minute, you're going to go all in on a jack?
Yes, I was.
Because a jack, if a jack comes on 10, 9, 6, 8, now the river's a jack, like, you're going to have the best hand here, like 100%, 99.99% of the time, right? And then this guy's going to be staring down at a one-liner on jack 10, 9, 8. So I don't know if he calls 600 at the end, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I might size down on the jack. A queen is an interesting one because it puts a one-liner out there to a jack. That might actually be, and I don't know what's going to come on the river, that might actually be one of the more interesting cards, a queen, because you won't beat jack, right? You don't beat jack if a queen comes, but so you probably need to bluff like kings or aces off if you think he's bad enough to bet call with an overpair, or if he has like a set and somehow like finds like a hero fold. This is if a queen comes out. So the board's 10, 9, 6, 8 queen, and hero's got ace queen. And then you've got your low bricks. Well, what's the river?
The river is the ace of clubs.
The ace. Oh, okay. That's interesting. That's not quite as interesting as a queen. I think a queen you actually have to bluff. Now the ace, now you beat kings. You beat queens if you really do think those hands take it like this. And then you beat Jack, Jack. So what, I don't know. I'm trying to think, like, what, is there really a need to, is there a need to, now that you beat all those hands, I don't think you need to bet now. Unless you somehow thought you were going to get called by like kings or something like that.
Well, I thought if I checked at this point and he had any of those hands, he would just check it back.
Of course. Right. That's what I'm saying. Well, no, I mean, that's what I say. Like, I think, well, you mean you want to go for value? So you want to get called here by like kings, queens, and jacks? I mean, that's okay. I mean, if you think you can get called by those hands, but I mean, this guy's got to be fucking terrible. I mean, I guess here's the only thing that doesn't make sense to me, James. Remember, we got to be consistent with our logic. Like, how can you expect to get called for 600 by a guy with kings on this board and then also expect to rip the river on an offsuit deuce and get that through and get a guy to fold kings?
Well, that's why when I did bet this river, I did size it down a bit. I only went for 435.
How much?
435.
Yeah, but still, I mean, maybe if you went like 200 or something like that. This is, I don't know, James. I think this is a little bit too optimistic here. And again, it doesn't really, it's not necessarily logic with the other thing. I wonder if this might be a check and possibly fold, where you get into a situation where you made an aggressive play on a draw. You sort of like you have the best hand here some of the time, but the way the hand goes down, I don't think you can really extract a lot more value. So when you check, if the guy checks behind, you win a lot. But if he bets, you are probably not good, because I can't really come up with a hand. Like, I don't think he's turning jacks into a bluff or jack 10 into a bluff here. So you might make a case that this should be a check fold. If I ever thought that like this guy was somehow going to call me with worse, I would have sized a little bit lower than you personally. But okay, you bet 435.
I did get called, tabled my hand, and he mucked.
Wow. So,
and then later when we talked, he told me that he had jack, jack.
But do you see what I'm saying here? That, okay, well played to get value against this guy, right? But does this result in the way that this hand actually turned out? Is this an argument against the way that you had planned out the hand? And what I mean by that is that if I'm up against a guy that I can extract 435 from with jack, jack here with this situation, is that the type of guy that's going to fold to 600 all in on a 3 of clubs or some shit like that, you know?
I would say probably not, looking back on it.
Right. Well, thanks for the call. I appreciate it.